are readily available for you. When I'm talking about the requirements, it's all basically the IT requirements. It's going to talk about, I need so much of a RAM, I need so much of a memory to be working with, I need so much of a space to be working with, and etc., right? So, okay. The framework is, so how do we assist our customers are on three perspectives. One, we work as an advisory. If people are talking, the cloud is really, really cloudy, so I don't understand anything. So we step in there, we try to give you an advisory services. We recommend you in terms of what kind of a cloud infrastructure that we can go at, whether it is, there are so many buzzwords, right? Public, private, hybrid, so many, right? Those are certain sort of a consultancy services and enablers. We basically help you in terms of transformation. So I have huge set of some 50 servers lying down there, so we don't know, I mean, whether it is working, not working, utilized, not utilized, whatever it is. So we run a services around it, we try to optimize it, we try to consolidate it and give it to you. And the third is provider. This is something which is unique. So whatever I said in the first two, any IT organization. The third one is we are the first Indian cloud service provider, right? So we can give you not only the transformation, not only the consolidation, we can also provision those infrastructure on the cloud and then give it to you. So a few key lines as mentioned is basically the technology that enables us to give you those services. So, okay, bit of a complex slide. It's nothing but talks about in a typical IT environment, when you have an application opens up in front of you, this is exactly what is there behind the scene, and you might probably have it in your place already, okay, in some form or the other. So it is a bit of a complex format. So it is basically available in every offices, in every places. The moment you open that small door, something called a server room or a data center, right? So what we are talking about on a cloud, all this, right from the converged network on a security level, be it at the compute level, which I was talking about the servers, be it at the storage level, which is basically going to store your data, okay, process it, give it to you whenever that you want, and etc., or the backup, okay, at the user levels, which is like, the models, which is basically a hybrid, all that we spoke about, whether it is a public, private. So there are fundamental differences. Quickly, public cloud is like, we have a common infrastructure where you are a virtual user in it, right? If it is a private, it's an infrastructure that is dedicated to you. So we can decide in terms of basis of the business requirements, which one is suitable for you and stuff like that, right? So, and that gives you basically, the service offering is nothing but how do we productize it and give it to you. So, simple. I'm sorry, I'll have to rush a bit because I have a limited 15 minutes. And, okay, so that basically enables you in terms of transforming business. So I spoke about hosting an application, or I spoke about provisioning an IT infrastructure for you, right? So similarly, those are let's say that those are the main infrastructure. Then what are we talking about? Business continuity is like what happens, something goes wrong in your main infrastructure, which is like, you have your servers hosted in your premises and all your branches are connected to it and all your transactions you're monitoring it. What happens if service goes down? So you need to have a fallback. At this point in time, probably you will have a similar one another server next to each other, which is, they call it as a high availability, right? So I'm talking about what happens when there is a power outage, right? The city is not there for about a day. The power is not there for about a day, or some other natural calamities. So we're talking about the DR, which is the disaster recovery. Typically, we recommend that you have a disaster, you have your corporate headquarters and all your applications hosted here in Chennai. We provide you a disaster recovery center in Bangalore, or we provide you a disaster recovery center in Mumbai. So not only gives you the geographical redundancy, it also gives you a quicker fallback and etc., etc. So, okay. So end of it, transforming experience, right? So I have done all this. So how do I ensure that my employees are going to be using it effectively? How are they going to be experiencing it effectively? So the tools that we enable is going to ensure that these are certain set of solutions available around the web application acceleration, right? So it is just not, so the moment you click the enter button, it gets into the internet, right? So we ensure that those packets gets accelerated. Those are not going to get lost. It's going to get hit into the multiple hops before it's going to hit the hit the destination, right? So we ensure to accelerate that and reach it quick, so that so that your experience is like much better. That's exactly why you see certain set of websites, you click it, it just opens. Certain set of websites, it takes longer time, right? So typical difference between a cloud environment and a typical environment. So the first one is talking about a typical environment wherein like any kind of a service is to be rolled out. You're talking about anywhere between 6 days to 45 days, depending on the hardware availability, depending on the complexity of the application involved, depending on the depending on the kind of an integration required, and etc. etc. So here what we are talking about is provisioning, which is less than 6 hours, right? Practically speaking, less than this thing. So understand. So